good things are used well by good people, and good things are then used poorly by sinners, by those here's God who makes all things good. We can either use those things for good or use those things for evil, because the next verse is key. In verse 26, it says, basic to all the needs of man's life are water and fire and iron and salt and wheat flour and milk and honey, the blood of the grape, aka wine, and oil and clothing. All these are for good to the godly, just as they turn into evils for sinners. So again, these are all goods, because the only thing God makes is good. And yet, we can abuse that. It's just going back to, again, we have from the book of Proverbs, here is the folly of using wine the wrong way, using alcohol the wrong way. Just as earlier we heard about how, this can be used the right way. This can be used in a way that is in moderation and is not destructive. And that reality, of course, is we walk amongst this world, we walk in the midst of this world, and we're surrounded by things that are good. We can either use those things for good, we use them in the right way at the right time, or we can not. Again, remember, we talked about this so many times. The book of Sirach, and later on, in a few days from now, we're going to be looking at the book of wisdom, which is just going to blow your mind. You're going to love it. I'm telling you right now, is about the pursuit of wisdom. What is wise living? What is prudence? Prudence is doing the right thing at the right time in the right way. And that temperance goes right along with prudence, using the right thing in the right time in the right way. And yet we also recognize that we can be tempted to not do that. And that is why we have Proverbs chapter 23, at the end of chapter 23, and Sirach 39 talking about this. Just what an incredible gift. That's one of the reasons why no one can say at the end of Sirach 39, no one can say this is worse than that, for all things will prove their good in their season. So everything God has made is ultimately for good. And that doesn't mean that, again, it doesn't mean that things that God hasn't made, like privations or evils, things God hasn't made are good. But every good thing that exists is good in itself because of the fact that it exists. Once again, verse 33 of chapter 39, the works of the Lord are all good, and he will supply every need in its hour. Just what an incredible gift we get to experience this book of Sirach, and also to have concluded the book of First Maccabees. We get to the end, and here is John, and now John, the son of Simon, is the one who's taking over, and that's going to be more or less kind of the last we're going to hear until the New Testament. Because we have one more book left. You guys, this is crazy. We have one more book left. We have 15 chapters left. We have 15 days left until we live in the New Testament. Until everything we read, actually, except for Proverbs, okay? But almost everything we're going to read in 15 days is from the New Testament, which is just, hopefully you are pumped about that. I'm also really pumped about tomorrow in Second Maccabees, because again, you might have gotten bogged down by the history lesson of First Maccabees and maybe all the names and all the Greek names and all the people, the kings fighting and who belongs to who, and who's fighting against who, who's fighting for what. But in Second Maccabees, we're going to take a little turn, as I said before, and it is going to be a different perspective on the same story, a little bit like how we had Numbers and Deuteronomy kind of telling the same story. We had Kings and Chronicles kind of telling the same story. Here's First and Second Maccabees, kind of, sort of, generally speaking, telling the same story. But here we are on this day 297. Oh man, what a gift. So we seek wisdom. We ask the Lord to give us wisdom. We ask the Lord to give us his grace, that if we've fallen today, that he helps us stand back up, that he picks us back up. If you have fallen today, if you've struggled today, just know that you're not alone. You're not alone. And whatever it is you might be struggling with right now, today, even sometimes those words about alcohol, sometimes they can hit us, and they can be that spark that gets us thinking about the addiction we have in our life, or the slavery we have in our life. Listen, the Lord God will help you get through this day. One day at a time, he will get you through this day, and he will sustain you with his grace, because you're not alone. And I'm telling you right now, I am praying for you. Please pray for each other, and please pray for me. My name is Father Mike. I cannot wait to see you tomorrow. God bless.